Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now, wanting to pop in and touch on this here because one of the things that I realized I was reached out to by a gentleman yesterday or the day before who went through a divorce. And then today reached out to by a former, I guess like boss, so to speak, who has a family member going through some rough patches in their marriage. And a lot of times what I'm noticing is a lot of women reaching out on behalf of a man, and then sometimes men reach out on their own behalf. And one of the things I found in my marriage is that I was the problem. I came to realize that about 90% of the time, maybe 80% at the least, if I didn't start something from insecurity or jealousy or control or waking up on the wrong side of the bed or taking something too serious, blowing something out of proportion, if I didn't just roll with things, I'll give you an example. My wife, she liked to play a lot. So something I did the other day, she had some Tupperware in her hand. It was all empty. We was going to pick up some oxtail. Something happened. I can't remember what it was. And she like tossed the Tupperware into the window of the car, and it all bumbled and fumbled and everything. Now, for me, I'm sensitive in the sense of I was raised in a household and in an environment where you have to have the utmost respect for the man. And so sometimes that'll get the best of me, and I don't realize that I have a playful wife and she means no harm. And but it was but I took it as disrespect, and it just depends on your upbringing. But she wasn't mad, she wasn't angry, and she was like playing. It wasn't like she took it and I hate you or something like that. It was like she was joking, and she plays around sometimes. And I didn't really understand the playing around because I grew up in a household that there was no playing around. But I remember one time being at an event. I can't remember what the event was for her family. And I was sitting down, and her dad came and grabbed my hand and for me to get up and dance. And I don't dance, do the rock away. I'm a goon. I just don't dance. Not literally. Y'all get it. Now, some people, sense of humor, but I'm a goon, and goons don't dance. And so I just sit there. Very rarely will I get on the dance floor. And but my wife, she loved to dance, and she'll get on the dance floor because she raised Jamaican, them having their little get together. She'll dance the whole night away. Me, I'm shy. I don't want anybody looking at me. I didn't grow up dancing. I didn't grow up going to parties. I grew up in the church. We did not have house parties. We did not have birthday parties with secular music, doing the cha-cha slide and all of that. I didn't grow up like that, so I didn't learn that stuff. So I don't like going and dancing. And I don't even like standing up in church. Like, I don't like being seen. I don't like people looking at me. I do this out of purpose. I do not like doing this. Let the Lord mess around and tell me I ain't got to do this no more. Listen, but I'm gonna be here now, forever, because I done built the little tribe, built the community. So now I can do this because I'm not really in front of people. And that's why you may see 2, 3, 4 videos from me, because it's like I'm talking to myself. And I remember her dad pulled my hand and he wanted me to get up to dance, and I didn't want to dance. And I'm like pulling my hand back, and he yanked me, and we like flipped over the table. And it like really embarrassed him. It embarrassed his daughters. And they were like, Dad. Like, not my wife, but his other 2 daughters, my wife's sister. They were like, Dad, leave him alone. And they were just like mortified. What I realized, my wife's personality comes from her dad. So then I had to understand, like, I just take stuff too serious. And I have to understand who I'm with. And I got to understand that for that personality, that means they like you. Like if they like you, they joke with you, they play around with you, and that's how they show love. If they are not playing with you, they really ain't on you like that. And I had to learn that. And I had to learn that a lot of the issues in our marriage was in my head. Me bringing my past, bringing soul ties, bringing meaning soul ties, meaning past experiences of the man that I once was, and me not trusting, me bringing childhood things to where you see the way men treat women and talk to women and deal with women growing up, and you think that's the way it should be done. Y'all gotta forgive me because my wife texted me. Y'all forgive me. A few people text me, 4 different texts me. I get to it in a little bit. Got to coach in an hour, so I ain't gonna be on here too long. Might take up the whole hour, who knows? And so this is what I start to realize is that it doesn't mean that you the only problem in your life or that you're the only problem in your relationship or on your job or what have you. But what I found is that when you change, the environment changes. So what I started to do is work on my emotional intelligence. I started to work on my mindset, work on my heart set, work on just how I carry myself. And what I found is that I'm like, wow, if I don't overreact, if I don't read into something, if I don't let insecurity speak, if I don't let anger speak or frustration speak or fatigue speak, I'm like, we don't really have any problems. And it's not that my wife is perfect because she may get beside herself. But then when she's beside herself, if I don't overreact and I just kind of like look at her or like, then she'll catch herself because she'll realize, oh, I got an attitude for no reason, or I'm, getting slick out the mouth, or I'm being snappy and he ain't doing nothing. So sometimes when you don't react, but then if you take and you react, now you justify, they're allowed to justify what they just did or what they just said. And they're like, uh-huh, see there. And it also allows them to say, well, we the same, we on the same level. But when you remain high level and you remain emotionally intelligent, now everybody around you got to elevate to your level. And they either elevate to your level or they get left behind. And that's what I started to realize and find. And I'm like, man, okay, this amazing. Like I got to get out my head. And so every day the devil will come and I'm saying the devil, but not necessarily literally the devil. It could be your childhood trauma. It could be your insecurity, your jealousy, whatever it may be. But every day that will come and it may be like, okay, ask a question about this. Like last night, it was late, like midnight, 12:30, something like that, something crazy. 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm texting with two of my guys. And we talking about these women prophets. And one of my guys is a gospel artist, man of God. And he was like, bruh, these videos then gave me a great laugh. Like, this is crazy to see these women acting like this. And I sent it to my other guy. He's like, man, bro, this is crazy. Like, you got me going down the rabbit hole. And like, we're gonna talk about this tomorrow. So we talking. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:30 or something like that. My wife's still up. She's still up. I'm up. I just come home from out of town. We've been talking. She talking, giving me the whole rundown of basically the 2 days I've been away. And she gave me a whole rundown. Guess what? While I'm texting, she could not see my phone because she wasn't close enough. It's not like she was laying on my shoulder looking down. She wasn't close enough. And then when I went out to the kitchen and made her something to eat because she felt like her blood sugar was going, I went and made her something to eat, and then I came back. I gave her food. I was standing up texting. Do you know there is probably a 0% chance that if that was flipped, that I wouldn't have said, "Who are you texting this time of night?" My wife did not ask me who I was texting. And but here's the thing. Here's the common sense part of that. And this is what I started doing. I started thinking like, okay, Tony, what what is the point of asking who are you texting? Because if she's texting a guy, do you think she's gonna say, I'm texting my side man? I'm about to say Negro. Let me just go ahead and finish the word. Oh, total about to say the N word. I'm texting my side man. Like, so I asked myself that and I processed like, okay, so that's just insecure, like being insecure. Like, if she texts another man, for one, that's her loss. Two, that's gonna come out. So why invade the privacy? Why invade the space and then create this rift and then show that icky insecurity? Like, man up. And then think about it like, does she ask you who you texting? Now there has been times that she was like, who are you texting? Like, what are you going? And that just could be it got the best of her, But I probably could count on one hand. Y'all gotta forgive me, something got in my eye. I probably could count on one hand how many times that has happened. And y'all got I was up late. I'm up here. I look tired. See that little bag under my eye right there? But it also could have been staying up late, and it also could have been something I ate. And so that's something to where, and I got heavy set eyes. I just y'all forgive me. I'm looking a hot mess on here. And that's something that I'm like, okay, we all can have those feelings. And I know it's normal because women ask my wife, how do you deal with your husband being around women? Like I did a VIP dinner in New York City and it was all women. My wife didn't ask me a single question about it. She didn't ask me, well, how was the dinner? Who were the people? Tell me about them. I seen the picture. I posted a picture in my story. She didn't say, well, who is this person? Who is that person? She didn't say anything insecure like, oh, I bet you're attracted to that one, or I bet you liked it that one, or was that one right there trying to flirt with you? And she didn't ask a single question. Seen the picture, hit the like button. So what the Lord started showing me is like sometimes you got to learn from other people. So I want you to take this situation. Don't just apply this to a loving relationship. Apply this to your job. Apply this to your friendships. Apply this to your parenting. Apply this to every aspect of your life and ask yourself, are you the problem? Is it your insecurity? Is it you jumping to conclusions? Is it you making a mountain out of a molehill? Is it you making something out of nothing? Are you being emotionally intelligent or are you overreacting? Are you insecure? Are you jealous? Are you anxious? Are you worried? Like, what is the issue? And that's what I start to realize that, because it's men going through these divorce. Like it was a guy reached out to me. He's like, hey man, I want to come down there, link up with you. I got another guy coming in town for mentorship and it's on business stuff. But then the other guy who reached out to me, he went through a divorce. Well, the thing about it is when he went through a divorce, I didn't hear anything from him. Like he never called me when he was going through a divorce. He never called me when the marriage was falling apart. He knew me and he was reaching out to me about other stuff. And I got another guy that has my phone number and texts me all the time about like his work, his projects, like what he's doing, what he just created. But he never once texted me about marriage stuff and about being a husband and being a good husband. And this guy literally, his wife years ago came to my seminar and he went through a divorce and did not text me once. So what I want men to understand, but also if you're a woman and you are the problem, then think about this. male or female, first ask yourself, am I the problem? So when I got over my crap, when I got over my insecurity, and I got over the stuff that I do, I started to realize that me and my wife stopped having arguments. And the reason why we stopped having arguments was because she had got so used to me having an issue with something or bringing something up from my past or my insecurity or my whatever, that she didn't even have room or time to bring nothing up. And so when I went into a healthy space, that's when I was able to finally see her insecurities or her shortcomings. But I had been hogging all of the showtime. So when I went into a healthy space and I'm healthy, I'm like, for one, I realized 90% of the issues went away. And then the next thing I realized, like, she never really started nothing. Like she is non-confrontational, like she about peace. And that's what you're gonna find in your life is when you're not the problem, or when you stop being the problem, you stop causing the problems. If you a man, if you're not watching the stuff you're not supposed to be watching, a lot of your problem gonna go away. Because when you watching that stuff and you listening to that stuff, you're gonna start having resentment towards your wife. You're gonna start comparing her to other women that you don't even know, that you don't even live with, that you don't even know what's real or fake about them women. And now you comparing your woman's behind the scenes to another woman highlight reel. And you're gonna create problems in your life that you wouldn't have otherwise had. So it's kind of so I'm now at the space to where I'm nice to people, but I'm kind of like, if you ain't called me when you was going through, then I'm not as inclined to connect after it, because I don't want my name and my face to be used and for somebody to be like, oh, my husband or my wife personally knows Tony Gaskins, but yet they treated me like crap or whatever. So Tony must not be a good life coach, or Tony must not be a good person. And they don't even realize that their person never brought that up. Because anybody who talks to me, the first thing I'm gonna have them do is look in the mirror. What are you doing? What problems are you causing, or what behaviors are you enabling? What are you causing? What are you starting, or what are you reinforcing? Before you blame them, before you blame anything, I had a session today. Well, I had to tell my client, I said, listen, your spouse is not a problem. You want your spouse to be a problem so you have something to talk about. But you actually don't have a problem in your relationship. You're creating problems that do not exist anymore. And you are the problem. You need to get help. You need to get therapy. In addition to your partner getting therapy, you need to get therapy. And I have to tell people that all the time. So many people like, listen, you are the problem. And if you make this change, this right here has to change. What does the law say? With every action, there is a equal or greater reaction. So you can't have something change and it not change for the better. You got to realize and understand that. Did I forget to tell you to click the link in the description? Click the link in the description. If I forgot to tell you that, I can't remember. Click the link in the description to look at the offering that I have going on right now for you to be an investor in the YouTube channel for life. If we hit the requirement if we hit the minimum, I need to check up on it. I ain't checked up on it since day one. We're in day two. And my wife was telling me last night where it was, and I ain't asked her for that. I'm gonna see if she checked on it today. She ain't mentioned it, so she probably ain't checked on it today. But bringing on partners. So click the link to see if it's for you. Read everything, see the different levels, and see what's for you. If it's for you, no pressure from me, but I'm gonna mind you about it every day for the foreseeable future, as long as it's open and we don't hit the deadline or what have you. But this what I want you to do. Shift your energy on your job, in your relationship, in your parenting. Change the way you see things. Change the way you do things and see what it shifts. Stop being on edge. Stop being combative. Stop being insecure. Like, talk to yourself first. So now, if I feel something and I'm like, I feel something and I want to ask my wife, who you texting with? It's after 10 o'clock. And I've done this in the past and got embarrassed because she texting her homegirl. And it's like, but then I got to this place in my life to where I became emotionally intelligent and I started to process the question and process the possible answers. And I had to process the rationale. And so I thought about it and was like, okay, Tony. And y'all don't be in here trying to preach to me in the comments. Okay, I'm bringing you to a realistic self-realization for you to apply to your life where it might be in another area. Don't be micro analyzing the scenario I'm giving you from my personal self. Look at your life, and where you are not analyzing your life, I'm using myself for an example. It's already understood what I'm talking about as far as the lesson here. So what I started to do is say, okay, Tony, why do you want to ask that? Then I answer myself, well, just see if she's texting a guy from her past or a guy that maybe is trying to reach out or something. Okay, Tony, do you think she would be in the bed next to you texting a guy? And you're not, like, y'all not on the outs, you're not cheating on her. You're not texting a woman that you dealing with or flirting with. Like, do you really think she'll do that? And I'm like, no, she's not that type of person to my knowledge. Okay. The last 10 times that you done asked that, over how many other years it was, how many other times, what was the answer? She texting her mom, or she texting this woman or this friend or that friend, and she shows it to me and she scrolls and shows me the conversation. And then what, how did you feel after that? Like an insecure punk, like a weakling? And what do you think that did to her? Made her feel like I don't trust her, or made her feel like I'm a punk and I'm insecure? And what do you have to be insecure about? Nothing. I got everything that a man could want. I really honestly truly feel like Himothy, him Duncan. And so what is this question going to benefit? Absolutely nothing. Are you really, really worried that it's another man? No, I'm not. And if you are, then why? Are you not doing what you're supposed to do? Are you not being the man you need to be? Because if you doing everything you supposed to do and you treating her the way you supposed to be treating her, then you wouldn't have this worry. Because what woman who is a good woman, a quality woman, would think about cheating on an amazing man? Well, red pill community say every woman cheats. Okay, when you look at those men, are those men that you look up to? No. Well, how do you read those men? They look like butthurt lames to me. Okay, so are you gonna let a butthurt lame who sits behind a computer bashing women infiltrate your marriage and mess up the chemistry in your household because of something he said, because he got hurt by a woman as a lame? Mm. Well, now that it's put like that, see, this is what they mean when they say talk yourself off the ledge. This is what emotional intelligence is. It's not just thinking something or feeling something and reacting to it. It's not just thinking something and feeling something and speaking on it. It's thinking it and feeling it, but taking the time to process, taking the time to go through a process of elimination, question yourself, go through everything. And by the time you to answer these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions, you no longer even want to say what you was about to say. That insecure thing or that jealous thing, that weak thing, that controlling thing. You don't even want to say it anymore because you're like, man, you know what? That ain't even worth it. Like, what was I thinking? What's going on? So then you start to process and realize that that's emotionally unintelligent and that you are supposed to be emotionally intelligent. And that's what you start to realize. And when you make the change, so what I started doing in my personal life is I started just seeking to love like Christ. And if you don't believe in Christ, you don't know Christ, then just kind of look up what Christ did for the church and you'll understand the example that I'm making here. He came flawless, blameless, innocent, and he took on all the sins of the world. Every human to ever be created, he took on all the sins and he was punished. He accepted the punishment for everybody else and he was hung on a cross and his physical body was killed. His spirit lives on. He was resurrected 3 days later. He went back and showed proof of the resurrection, showed the scars in his hand, and then he went on to sit on the right hand side of the Father. So I have been focused on loving like Christ. I've been focused on let me be a man of God. Let me love like Christ. Let every single day, let me look to be a blessing to my wife. How can I treat her? What can I do? Like how can I touch her body so that she feels my love? What can I say to her? What can I do for her? What can I give her? How can I love her? What can I show her? What can I do? And every single day I'm looking to do something. Like, hey, babe, here go $500. Go get your hair and your nails done. Next time when I feel like that's coming back up, hey baby, here go $500. Hey baby, here, hey, got you a thing at the spa, deep tissue massage Thursday, 10:30 a.m. If cancel whatever appointments you got, reschedule it, go get that massage. Cause that's more important with how kink your back be. You could do your nails later that day. Because she don't have no real appointment. So, or I'll check with her if I ain't already booked it and say, hey, what you got Thursday? But sometimes I try to surprise her and she be happy. She right there filming it, making content. So I'm like, you know what? If this was something that she didn't care about, that she didn't want, she wouldn't be filming this to make no content. She wouldn't be documenting this moment. She'd be like, I don't mean nothing to me. Just go right on through the motions. And so I started to look and realizing and just showering with love, with compliments. Now, guess what? What I have found now is humans can't really handle that. Like humans don't know how to handle it and they'll get used to it. And so you have to be mindful and so you can't overdo it and you can't make it like a love bombing situation. Like you gotta kind of you do it, but you don't do it in excess. You don't overdo it, but you do it in a genuine, honest, real, authentic, organic way. And you leave some room. Like if you do something great today, tomorrow it may not be financial or it may not be physical, it may be verbal. Then the next day it may be a physical touch. The next day it might be a for nothing gift. Like you switch it up and you leave some room to see who you have and to see how they love and to see how they reciprocate. So what my wife will do is she'll get up and she'll make me a coffee. She'll because that bless my heart, act of service. She'll make me some lunch. Right now, she cooked me some salmon. She texts me that we got some salmon. I'll ask what we got there. She cooking me some salmon. So when I get home, I get done working, shooting the videos, coaching. I got one more client to coach who's in my year coaching program, the $10,000 a year program. We launching a brand for my client. So we going through the process, got the logo made, got the stuff designed, got the package design, now working on the formula. So we got a check-in call today, do this once a month, and then text message access every day, Monday through Friday. When I finish that call, I'm going home. I get home by 8:45 p.m. Practice got canceled tonight. I would be at practice right now if we didn't get rained out. And my salmon will be there. And then my wife will proceed to talk my head off. And she would talk nonstop. And she'll tell me about everything that happened, everything that went on. And then what I have to remind myself is to be present. Put your phone down, Tony. Look her in the eyes and be present. And a lot of times I'm on my phone when she's talking and I'm doing something when she's talking and she just talking because she don't expect me to stop everything and look her in the eyes, and she don't trip. She don't ask a question about it. She don't say nothing about it if I'm multitasking. But what I noticed is when I started putting my phone down while she talking, and instead of looking up every few seconds, like, oh, really? That's what happened? That's what happened? And then doing this right here. Because that's how most people communicate. That's how we communicate, because we always doing something on our phone. We always multitasking. So instead of me doing that, when I put my phone down and I look her in her eyes, I noticed that she'll kind of like, almost like, it's almost like she get like a weird feeling come over her body because of the eye contact. And it's almost like she started to wonder, like, am I beautiful? Like, what does he think about me? Like, he's looking me in my eyes. Does he think I'm beautiful? And then sometimes she'll just kind of stand there and just kind of look at me at the end of the sentence or what have you. And she just looking at me and she trying to read, like, okay, what is he saying? What is his face saying? What is his eyes saying? Like, does he love me? Is he enamored with me? And sometimes I may have a little look, like a little smirk, and she might say, why are you looking like that? What does that look mean? You smirking. What you, I'm like, hey, I'm doing that. I'm looking at my wife. You talking, I'm looking at you. And I start to realize the power in that eye contact. That's like a spiritual transfer when you have a soul connection to somebody. Like, this is the love of your life. This is your other half. Like, this death until death do us part. Like, that's a soul connection. That's a lot of power that's being transferred. That's making love to the mind, because that undivided attention. And I started to realize that, and the power in that, and start to do that. And then guess what? When you loving like that and you giving like that, it makes your spouse want to reciprocate. It make your spouse want to look good, smell good. So you'll notice, and I noticed this, me and my wife, we doing good, we laughing, talking. Man, listen, I want to spray me a little something on after I get out the shower. You ain't even supposed to have that stuff on your skin after you get out the shower. I'm gonna get my little skirts. She come out, lotion all smelling loud. And I know people be talking about you ain't supposed to have all that scented stuff. Man, listen, I'm good. Girl, hey, put them parabens in. You got life insurance. Come on in here smelling good. Smelling good. Got that silk, that's little silk short, silk shirt on, little night thing. And it ain't even about all the way. It ain't even about going all the way. It ain't about that, right? The hanky panky. It's about just that chemistry, that feeling, that ooh, ah, just that love you, smell good, and you're still trying to look sexy for each other. You're still trying to please each other. You're still trying to have good conversation, good connection, good communication. because you emotionally intelligent. You sidestepping the power struggles. And when somebody do something or say something stupid, you don't react to it. You let them sit in that. You let them sit in that so that they could feel just how immature or stupid or inappropriate that was. Just sometimes a look, and that's how my wife used to do me. Just sometimes a look, and then you immediately process like, probably shouldn't have said that. Probably shouldn't have did that. That's where emotional intelligence comes in. So you have to look and you got to ask yourself, are you the problem? And go through the process of asking yourself these questions and thinking about this and talking about this and making sure that you are not operating from a place of insecurity, anger, frustration, impatience, jealousy, resentment, pain. Evaluate your heart, evaluate your spirit, and know that one thing you got to know is that when you start to grow and you start to change and you start to stretch and you start to do better, you're going to be tested. You're going to be tried. People gonna try you. So like last night, I come home after being gone for 2 days. While I'm testing, I'm thinking in my mind, like, my wife could be wondering who I'm talking to. She could be thinking I'm talking to a woman right now. Especially I just been out of town for 2 days. I could have picked up something now. Could have got my old phone number. So guess what? She's not gonna ask me, but what I can anticipate is my phone getting checked over the course of this week just to scroll through, which she got every right to do that. Now, some people be like, oh, you can't do that. When you marry, there is no privacy. When you are married, you can inspect what you expect. You can inspect what you suspect. When you have probable cause in marriage, you can do some digging to put yourself at ease because the two is one. So when the two is one, there's nothing separate between you. Now, when you're not married, there is privacy and boundaries. When you marry, the twain become one flesh. And when you one flesh, there are no secrets. Nothing can be hidden. Now, if your spouse know that you be going through the phone and you coming up with questions and you asking stuff or you saying stuff, and sometimes we'll get that away. We will give it away sometimes and we don't even realize it that we'll give it away with something we ask later or a little something we be done said and don't realize like, oh, I ain't even supposed to know that. I ain't even supposed to know the conversation happened with their mama. And if you'd never been there in that space before, when you're young and immature, me and my wife got together in our early 20s. So one of the mistakes we was making was bashing each other to our friends and family. Like, and when I say bashing, not literally bashing, but like taking our gripes and our complaints to our friends and family and not realizing how damaging that is because the friends and family, they keep tabs, they keep a record, and they don't forgive how you forgive. Like you living with this person, you love this person, you in love with this person. So when you go to complain about them other people that you talk to, they don't love them. Really might not even care for them. So now they building up resentment. So now it come time for Thanksgiving. That handshake a little off. That eye contact a little off. The prayer's a little off. And that happened to us one time. That boy, look here. It was almost some smoke in the city. Cause we was just young and ignorant to how a relationship worked. So there was this thing where I was always griping and complaining. And I'm using myself. And even though I have enemies out here, meaning people who work for the devil, and they try to take the little stuff that I say and use it against me and go run and tell that like they done discovered something, like it came out in a tabloid and I ain't telling out myself, teaching a lesson from real life. I still share it in transparency so you realize and understand that we all go through this stuff. We all, it's in our book. It's in our book, A Woman's Influence, which we ain't focusing on right now. Right now, we focus on that link in the description so you can see that opportunity where there could be a possible return on investment. No promises could be made. So click the link in the description, go read all about it, and consider joining me. But what happened is I have been talking to my wife about the stress and frustration that I had from my family always asking me for money and me just doing, and me just being like beg for money all the time. My wife was talking to her best friend, her mom, which is natural. It is normal. But her mom is one of those type of people that wears her feelings on her face. Whereas I could go talk bad about my wife to my dad, and my wife would never know it. Because my dad, being a life coach, being a former pastor, being the position he in, he is trained how to deal with people's stuff. So he could come around my wife and just, hey, Cherie, how you doing? Great to see you, amazing to see you. And I could have just been bashing the day before. She would not be none the wiser. But my wife, mama, she different. Anything she feel, you gonna see it. She just not, she ain't trained like that. She is a real person. You gonna know what she thinking. You gonna know what she feeling. She gonna speak her mind. She not mincing her words. She ain't scared of nothing or nobody. So now here comes the time for Thanksgiving. We get ready to say a prayer. Everybody take turns praying. When it got to my mother-in-law, and Lord, we just want to thank you for Cherie and Tony. And Lord, I just ask that you would touch all of us to be grateful for Tony and to be thankful for everything that he does and everything that he gives, because he doesn't have to give to any of us, to give anything to any of us. And we need to be mindful that we're not just asking him over and over for more and more stuff. And boy, look here, after that prayer, my dad was so mad. And really, because it was the truth, and it stepped on his toes, probably because they felt the conviction, because they was like in this thing of like, I have to give to them because we're family. And so, and my dad, he got pride, because he said he was about to say something. He said he was about to say something. But he like, Tony, I ain't want to mess up Thanksgiving dinner, but if she ever do that again, I'm gonna check her and let her know. Now, yeah, speaking for himself, he don't ask me for nothing. But my mom and my sister, oh my goodness, have 16 hands out. I mean, I could give $1 million and they'll probably go broke and ask for another million. And so what she was praying for, she shouldn't have did that. But if you just don't know her and that's just your personality. Now, she's never done that again, because my wife felt it, and I think my wife told her. So since then, don't nobody pray at Thanksgiving but me. I pray or my daddy pray. For that very reason. That ended it. And that was several years ago. And so we was young. But I say that to say is that this is natural. This normal in your relationship, to go through these things and have to work through the kinks of just your personality traits and the mistakes that you make when you're doing these things. And it has to be understood that this you're going to go through. But when you look yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, am I in the wrong? And marriage is marriage, friendship, relationship, interpersonal relationship, any kind of relationship, any kind of friendship. It is give and receive. It's a two-way street. I'm not going to say give and take intentionally, because we shouldn't be taking, but we should be open and willing to receive. And we should be in a position to receive. We should receive if we're giving. It is a give and receive. Two-way street. And it's not easy. It's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. You got to work. You got to do the work. You got to understand what you're working for, why you're working, what you're working toward. And as you're doing this, you developing that muscle and you build it. And it's one of those things to where it takes communication, but you first got to communicate with yourself. And when you communicate with yourself and you're doing everything you can do, then you got to communicate with that person and you got to understand. So you could do everything right. Like you could be nice, you could be kind, you could be sweet, and you just waiting on the opportunity and just hoping that your spouse will come on to you and make a move or just show you a little opening, a little window where y'all could be intimate. Well, if you give and give and give, and it's been week 1, week 2, week 3, and they're not coming on to you, then you got to realize, okay, maybe they're waiting on you to come on to them. And then you try to come on to them. If you try to come on to them and then they push you away, they turn you down, then okay, now you got a problem. So now you have to sit down and express and find out what is the issue and why is this one-sided. I'm cooking or cleaning or I'm loving, I'm expressing, I'm being kind, I'm being attentive, but I when I seek intimacy, you brush me off. Like, what is going on? And you got to hear from them. And then you hear and you listen and you seek to understand to see if what they're saying is valid. And every relationship, every couple is going to go through this. And it could be one way or the other, because sometimes it's the woman who's in her prime and she is ready to go. And sometimes it's the man, he in his prime, he ready to go. And it just ain't clicking and you got to talk about it. What I found is that sometimes when you're always the one doing something, you got to switch it up. And that's when you get a different response. So if you're always the one that's initiating, you got to stop initiating. If you always the one that's touching or that's communicating or that's complimenting, sometimes you got to stop doing that and give some time to breathe and let the person identify their feelings and emotions and assess where they are. Let them miss that compliment for a day. And then when they miss that compliment, they say, oh, okay, because you're dealing with a human. So before you go to expressing the problem, just change your approach and say, okay, well, I'm giving all these compliments, but maybe I'm giving too much. Let me chill for a second. And so this ain't the psychological manipulative tactic that people do. You're doing this in a genuine way, trying to shift your approach to see if you're doing it the wrong way. You're not doing this in like one of the ways that people are, what they call breadcrumb or, you know, Indian giving or whatever they'll call it, where you doing something and taking it back. You doing it to test your approach to say, okay, well, I'm doing it this way. And this is not the response I'm getting. That's not the one I want. So let me try this way. And what I found is sometimes when you change your approach and you let it breathe and you stop trying to coerce it, you stop trying to dictate, you stop trying to manipulate, and you let it breathe, then you'll end up getting the result that you want. You'll end up getting that what you've been seeking because you shifted the approach. So hey, this Tony Gas. I was looking and gonna stop at 45 minutes and kept on talking. Make sure you visit the link in the description. Amazing offer for you. Check it out. See if it's for you. To those of you who have already joined me, already supported, thank you so much. Yes, there is, each level has its own maximum. So if you did not go to the maximum, you are able to go back inside of the offer deadline. After it's closed, then no, you cannot add anything to it. But inside of the offer deadline, if you did not purchase the max that is available to you, then yes, you can go back and add more. So visit that right there. God bless you. We'll talk soon. Oh, the link is in the description. I see people put in the comment up under the video. there's a little arrow sometimes, or the down button, and that's a description box up under the video. But sometimes you got that, if you're on your phone, it's weird and it's collapsed. So you got to hit the little down arrow and you'll see that box open. And I have something that says like click here or check out my offer here or something right there, and you'll see something in the description box, and then you'll see a link that you could click. God bless you. We'll talk soon. And if I forget to put it there for whatever reason, click on my name, go to my main page. You'll see my page and you'll see videos, posts, and all this. Click on community. When you click on community, you'll see my post, my former post on like the community posting page, and you'll see it right there. You'll see the picture of me with my hands like this and the little consistency, and then you'll see the link there where you could go there. Hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon.